What's cracking? Big dogs. We've got some breaking news. I'm not going to lie to you. I was in the middle of cutting my fucking hair. I was in the middle of cutting my hair, and then I got 72 notifications on my phone that Travis Etienne, the 25th overall pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars of the 2021 NFL National Football League season fucking establishment organization. Travis Etienne has a Liz Frank foot injury. It is significant. He will be undergoing surgery. The optimal recovery timetable for this type of surgery is about 5 months, 6 months. It will very, 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 very likely end his entire 2021 season unless the Jaguars push for a playoff run. So it will end his entire 2021 season. Questions start to rattle off, you know. We'll start with this. We'll start with this and say speedy recovery for Travis. It's always weird when you say athlete's first name because you start to call them by their full name. You know, it's a weird. You get into a weird energy there. Speedy recovery for Travis, of course. A lot of y'all got dug out of a hole there. Anyone that was drafting him in the 4th, 5th round, he was clearly becoming the number 2 or 3 running back in that backfield by all preseason snaps. And now we have to focus on one, dynasty, what happens with Travis Etienne, James Robinson. More importantly, what's James Robinson's outlook for this 2021 season? Now, James Robinson burst on the scene last year, undrafted free agent as a rookie, and went fucking nuts. Finished as the top 5 fantasy running back. And now we're saying, you know, he had been moving up and up and up my rankings as we're seeing him cement himself as the starter week in and week out. All the training camp reports, and then preseason we see him 1, we see him 2. Both weeks, he's the starter. Now Etienne's gone for the season. So that says to us, why can't James Robinson repeat what he's doing? I need to mute my text messages because the NYC fucking draft weekend group is just really fucking having at it right now. Shut your mouths when I'm recording. I'm in the middle of fucking giving myself a haircut, and I'm out here reporting about Travis Etienne. If you don't want it that bad, if you don't want it bad enough to stop cutting your fucking hair and go on YouTube, then you just don't want anything bad enough, all right? We're out here to deliver you the most factual information. Sometimes I lie about some shit. Travis Etienne, gone for the year. Obviously, not drafting him in season-long leagues. James Robinson, I just moved him up in my rankings to the running back. Y'all going to be mad at me for this one. Running back 16. He is my running back 16 and half PPR rankings right now. I know there's a lot of good running backs. That's the problem. There's a lot of good running backs. And you could ask yourself, I think he's in the tier. I put him above Montgomery. I put him above Chris Carson. I have him right below. So it's Mixon, Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, James Robinson. So you start to ask yourself, does he push to have himself above those guys? The Jacksonville offense, you know, obviously they can't really be much worse than they were last year, but they've looked like an absolute shit show, and I think it's going to impact everybody on the team. I also need to get this across to you guys. James Robinson was good in his own right last year, but he was good because he led the NFL in opportunity share by running backs, right? Like 90% of the opportunities in the backfield were his. No other team gave their running back that type of opportunity percentage, that type of opportunity rate. That's not going to happen again this year. Like, they were very, very clear on their preseason moves, their summer moves, that they wanted to get more guys involved. That's why they brought Carlos Hyde in. That's why they drafted Travis Etienne. He's not going to get a 90% share again. Carlos Hyde is going to take 30% of the snaps here, right? And that could still leave James Robinson with 65, 70% of the snaps and the touches there, which is great, right? And that's still borderline RB1 type usage. And he could finish as an RB1 in fantasy, but you need to understand that without the usage that he had last year, he's not going to finish where he was last year, even without James Robinson. We look at the depth chart they have right there in Jacksonville right now. James Robinson, no more Travis Etienne, Carlos Hyde, Devon Azigbo, Dare Gumbawale, Nathan Koch. I don't know. You start getting to number 6 and 7 as people that I'm not even sure are real people. But yeah, I mean, there's not much back there. So the argument for James Robinson is, again, he showed that he can stay healthy for the full year. I mean, I think he actually did miss a game or two, but He had a huge workload, and now he's going to get a huge workload again because he is the clear starter. He's going to get a shitload of touches, and you could argue him all the way up to, I have him at 16. You could jump. A lot of you guys will probably have him above Dobbins. I can understand that. Some of you, I wouldn't put him above Jonathan Taylor. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, is like probably the best argument that you can make between two running backs in fantasy right now. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think their opportunity shares will be similar. I think the opportunity shares will be similar. I think Clyde obviously presents a lot more touchdown upside. Like James Robinson last year dominated goal line touches. And at the end of the day, he had 5 goal line touches. He had 5 goal line carries. He had almost all of the goal line carries that they had last year. It amounted to 5. This is not going to be a good offense. So I don't expect a ton of scoring opportunities to be there for James Robinson. Should catch a lot of passes again. I think they have good weapons there. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is necessarily a guy that's going to dump down to his running backs too often. He is a rookie, so maybe I'll eat my words on that. But I see him as more of a slinger. I see him as, I know you guys are going to be like, he was with Travis Etienne and he threw the ball a lot. Well, he also threw his fucking wide receivers the ball a lot too. It's like Patrick Mahomes, where when you're a great quarterback, your first read is not to dump it off to running backs, right? Maybe at the end of your career, maybe Drew Brees when he couldn't throw the ball anymore. That's your first read. So I don't imagine James Robinson catching as many passes as he did last year. 60 targets, 14 games, good number. I mean, the volume floor is going to be there. James Robinson, I think, will push for RB1 type numbers. I don't think he's a fade whatsoever. I think you could start to draft him in the 3rd round of drafts and be really, really comfortable with him as your RB2 if you want to draft him there. I'm not going to be one that's probably looking to take him in the 2nd round because, I think what their actions this offseason have echoed what they want to do in that backfield, and it is to use a committee. So one way or another, I think we see the opportunity share from Robinson dip from 90 to 70, and that's still a great fucking number. Don't hear what I'm not saying. That's still a very good number. It's just not the top 5 usage that we were getting from Robinson last year. And Robinson is not a guy who's going to break away 50-yard runs, so he doesn't give you the upside of the top 5, top 6, top 7 type guys. The Aaron Joneses, the Austin Eckler, guys like that. So, again, James Robinson, I think there's just a tier of a shitload of running backs there going from middle of rounds 2 to the end of round 3 where you can argue they're all kind of in that space. So, James Robinson, what do y'all think? How's the chat doing right now? How we living? Fucking throw a thumbs up or two. We got 600 people in here. And we've got 55 thumbs up. Wildly disrespectful. Also, if you're new to the channel, you should subscribe because we put out about 75 fucking videos over the last month that'll help you prepare for your fantasy drafts. How's the chat feeling right now about James Robinson? James Robinson ADP should jump to around Hunt and Davis. No, he should be way higher than that. So this is probably, wow, why is that so big? This is probably going to be like the typical opinion. J-Rob should be drafted after Eckler and Mixon, before Jacobs, Dobbins. Yeah, I would put Jacobs in his own fucking tier, way behind those guys. But I think that's where we'll see consensus start to, it's kind of cool. Like, it's come full circle that we're seeing the sophomore running backs all kind of get into their zone again, right? Like James Robinson fell really far behind, even though he had one of the better or the best sophomore year out of all these rookie running backs. Was such a talented rookie running back class with CH, Dobbins, Swift, Akers, JT, Antonio Gibson, and he fell far behind. And now we're going to see him drafted again. So you love it. He's fucking reunited with his long-lost rookie brothers. So I will personally probably still take CEH, probably still take Dobbins ahead of J-Rob, but I'm not going to argue against it. I think he's a very safe pick. I think he'll be good. I just think his upside is probably a little bit capped here. In terms of Etienne for Dynasty, if I was competing this year, I wasn't drafting Etienne in Dynasty. I have a team that went straight into productive struggle where I knew I was competing in year 2, 3. I drafted Etienne at like the 411, 412-ish. And I'm fine because, again, the optimal recovery timetable for Etienne is going to be between 5 and 6 months. So he should be completely fine for the 2022 season. Not worried about that. But James Robinson is still going to be on his rookie contract. I believe next year should be his last year since he's an undrafted free agent. I want to say that they have a 3-year contract as a rookie and then maybe definitely not a player option with the undrafted free agent. I'm not even sure if there's a team option, honestly. I'm sure maybe there is. Maybe there's a team option after the third year, but James Robinson's contract is not going to be the typical rookie contract, I don't believe. So, with that being said, it's difficult to project for Etienne, man. This is, you never want to see a guy lose his entire rookie year. Now we have Etienne gone, we have Akers gone. But, at least James Robinson kind of frees up another RB1, RB2 for us because we've had so many, murky backfields where we don't really know what to do. And now this clears up the fuckery of the situation in the Jaguars' backfield. So with J-Rob and Dynasty, you got to be fucking happy if you have him. You got to be happy if you didn't sell him. You got to be happy if you held on to him. And it sucks as an Etienne owner. But James Robinson, easy third-round pick in fantasy right now. He's got to feel good as the RB2 there. What else we got here? All right. Well, I just want to get on quick for you guys. I need to go fucking cut my hair. And then I'm heading up to Harlem. Fucking Noah pulled me into 131st Street. I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? We'll meet at your apartment today. We'll figure out different shots and what we want to film for the draft weekend this weekend. Make it a good vlog. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Meet me at 131st Street. I'm like, I wouldn't have agreed to that shit if I knew you lived all the way up. I thought he lived in the Upper West Side, 71st Street. I'm just fucking talking to a brick wall right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I got to cut my hair. I got to hit the subway. Tomorrow's video. Again, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. The next 2 videos are going to be fire. We're going round by round. Every fucking round. 16 rounds. 1 through 16. Tomorrow's video are my favorite targets. Must-draft player. 1 player at each position. Running back and wide receiver for 16 straight rounds. Thursday's video is the all-fade list. Every single round, the top fade at running back and wide receiver. Yes. Yes. Yes! It's officially that fucking season, baby. Let's go. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for hanging out. I will see you guys tomorrow morning bright and early unless there's more breaking news tonight, which I will get Bike on here and spit it to y'all. That was just unnecessary. Whoever threw that last thumbs down in at the last second. Just didn't need it. Didn't need it. Real quick, rock out through a super chat in there. Let me read it for him real quick. I am new fantasy commissioner. We had a meeting, but only have one of the league was there. We agreed on 12 men. Then a day later, then one guy's one. What the fuck did I just read? Was there agreed on 12 men. Then a day later, the only guys want 14 men now. So if I'm reading this correctly, y'all are just way too immature to have a fantasy football league.